But I'm going to talk about, Bill Johnson, Lou Engle, they're talking about the Jesus revolution and things that took place there. And I think it's very significant about this is we talk about Chuck Smith and K. Smith, but Chuck Smith and K. Smith came from actually from Amy Semple McPherson's Foursquare Church, which came from Azusa Street. So you have Azusa Street, Amy Semple McPherson, then you have the Foursquare Church, because she had to start it because people didn't believe a woman could preach at that time. She's the first female owner of a Christian radio station and probably a radio station in America. Anyway, so then Chuck Smith, who is the founder of Calvary, then went from the Foursquare to having a church that met in his home. And then that's where Lonnie Frisbee came to his home. We talked about in the previous program because John Nichols had picked up Lonnie Frisbee as a hitchhiker and brought him back because Chuck's wife, Kay, wanted to meet a hippie. And so they brought Lonnie home, and Lonnie just exploded with the gifts of God and things that were going on. And Chuck invited him into his house, and that's the beginning of Calvary and all the things that are taking place. So when you're hearing about, Bill Johnson and Lou Engle talking here, they're going to give you some foundation to this taking place. They're talking about the Jesus revolution and how powerful it was.
The Jesus movement was a widespread salvation movement. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it really was. I think every move of God that we read of around the world since 1906 is somehow an offshoot of Azusa Street. If you track the people involved, track the manifestations, the display of power of the Jesus People movement, Lonnie Frisbee was a huge part of that, and he just had this sovereign encounter with God, and he was used powerfully. He had personal issues, but there's not a perfect man out there. So, but God used him powerfully. Of course, Chuck Smith, who was Foursquare, and then started the Calvary Chapel movement, which is a profound and blessed move of God all over the world. And the list just goes on and on. But I think so many of them actually have their roots in the Azusa Street revival. The faith that was released, the gifts, the church growth, the conviction for sin, the manifestation of God's presence, all of that was so profoundly released. Missiologists trace the amount of people that have been saved in the last 100 years. So much of it is traced back to what was released in Azusa Street. It's amazing, really.
So think about that. We're going all the way back to like 1906 in Azusa Street, where he says the amount of people saved in the last 100 years can be traced back to Azusa Street revival, according to that's what Bill Johnson's saying, to the missiologists, ones who's studying the moves of God. And it's like, so many people go, well, that happened a long time ago. It's like, Jesus came over 2,000 years ago. I mean, come on, man. You're buying into this false narrative that the adversary likes to put out. It's like, you're smarter now than the past people, and then you end up doing something stupid and costing everybody all kinds of things. Listen, God's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And to know this history, to know what God did, and to hear him say, I'm going to do it again, you can prepare yourself and believe God. Thank you for watching the Greg Lancaster Show. Don't forget to follow us, like us, and subscribe. Go to our YouTube channels, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, Parler, Spotify, iTunes. Download our app. Even on Getter, go to the Apple Store and rate us. When you rate us, more people will get the broadcast. That's how this whole logarithm thing works. And thank you for watching the Greg Lancaster Show.